He thinks that obviously the situation in Russia is not ideal, but it's better than it is in Ukraine. And his strategy is to play on the war fatigue, primarily in European Union and in the United States, but in Ukraine as well. And he understands that he is running out of his human resources, but Ukraine is running out even quicker. That he's running out of money, but again, Ukraine is running out of funding even quicker, and it's very much dependent on the outside help. That's why he thinks that with all the bluffs and threats and games that he's playing with Americans and with Europeans, they at one point stop supporting Ukraine at the scale it was happening before, and then he can grab the country to his benefit. As a plan B, he's obviously exercising the so-called negotiations with the United States. It's not that he genuinely believes that these negotiations can actually come to a certain resolution, but who knows? Maybe they will, and he's trying to solve with diplomacy what he couldn't achieve at the field of battle.
Putin said that he's ready for war with Europe. What do you think this war could be, and what could it look like?
Well, first of all, obviously, he is just threatening at the moment, and he's threatening exactly for the reason I just said, that he wants Europe to stay back and to stop supporting Ukraine, because he understands that Ukraine very much holds because of European funding. Europe playing not that important role in terms of military aid, but it plays critical role of supporting Ukrainian finances. So that's what Putin tries to solve with this. But I really think that Eastern Europe is next. And I think that after the situation with Ukraine for Putin would be resolved in one way or another, doesn't matter how. In particular, I think that he would, in a very short period of time, attack Eastern Europe, because at the end of the day, his end game is to make NATO collapse, and he wants to provoke Eastern Europeans to invoke Article 5, to call for Article 5, and be denied because nobody wants to go at war with the nuclear superpower, military superpower the Russia still is, and because of this, to show that NATO is no longer an efficient defensive alliance. That's, I think, is his goal, and that's why I think that we all need to understand that the only way the war can be stopped is with removing Putin from Kremlin. As long as he's there, the war will continue.
Under what circumstances Putin will be ready to impose general mobilization, and what consequences can it lead to?
I don't think that he would invoke general mobilization in the foreseeable future. I think that he understands that this move would be vastly unpopular inside the country. It was already a lot of social disappointment and pushback when he pretty cautiously started doing this back in 2022. But the only way it may actually happen if he would run out of mercenaries, because his current records, they should be classified as mercenaries. They are coming to the army to fight for money. But still, right now, there are people who are coming because Russians live very poorly in misery. And that's why this money that is being offered for them as a compensation for the military service, for many families, it's like a salvation. And many families, especially from the rural areas where they have several kids, they kind of ready as awful as it sounds, to sacrifice one of their sons in the sake of the well-being of the whole family.
Some experts explain warm relations between Trump and Putin because Russia has compromising material about Donald Trump. Russian intelligence allegedly has materials about Trump's visit to Moscow in 80s and 90s when Trump wasn't a politician but a businessman. Do you know anything about it? And is Trump really Agent Krasnov?
I don't believe in this. And look, if one can look at the American political situation, what kind of compromise can exist against Trump? What would we know that we don't know already? Come on, he was tried for sexual innuendos and for lying and for non-paying taxes and for whatever other reasons you can think of. American people like him for a different reason, because they like him for being against the system, and so I don't think that Kremlin can publish something that would be like an eye opener that Americans would say, "Oh wow, this is something that we didn't know before." So no, I don't think that Kremlin has any leverage on Trump like this. I think that the influence is coming from the different aspect. Trump really genuinely wants to be the peacemaker. He's more on Ukrainian side than on Russian side. At least he understands that he cannot afford such a peace deal that would make Ukraine look like it lost the war. But at the same time, he is in a hurry, and that's the main leverage against Trump by Putin. Trump wants to get this Nobel Peace Prize, and he understands that his time is running out. That's very limited, and that's why he is doing everything possible to make it happen as soon as possible, and that's what seriously affects his maneuver in terms of negotiations with Putin. Putin sees the softness. He perfectly understands this leverage, and being a very experienced KGB officer, experienced in negotiations, he is using this leverage to his benefit. But it's not because Trump is pro-Russian. He is not. He's pro-American.